Title: Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Village Serial Murder. Chapter 1: The Visitor from Witherfield. It was a grey and brooding morning in early October when Sherlock Holmes and I, Dr. John Watson, found ourselves in our Baker Street lodgings, enjoying a quiet breakfast. The morning paper lay folded beside Holmes, who seemed more interested in the patterns of steam rising from his teacup than in any printed news. That curious stillness was broken by a firm knock at the door. "Come in," Holmes called out without looking up. Mrs. Hudson entered, followed by a weary-looking man of about 40, with ruddy cheeks, a furrowed brow, and eyes that held a flicker of desperation. "Mr. Holmes, sir," the man began, removing his cap. "My name is Peter Granger. I come from the village of Witherfield, in Yorkshire. We've had murders. 3 of them, sir. In the past 2 months. All women. All in the same manner." Holmes raised an eyebrow, finally putting down his cup. "Do sit, Mr. Granger. Tell me everything." Granger recounted the grim tale. Witherfield, a quiet village with little more than 100 souls, had been plagued by a series of murders. Each victim had been found at dawn, placed in a field just beyond the village limits, their hands clasped as if in prayer and a single flower placed upon their chest, a different flower each time. "And the local constable?" Holmes inquired. "He's done all he can, sir, but this is beyond him. We fear what may come next." Holmes steepled his fingers. Serial murders in a countryside village with symbolic ritual. Curious. And why come to me only now, after 3 killings? We hoped it would stop, sir. But last night, we lost another. For a moment, Holmes remained silent. Then he stood briskly. "Very well, Mr. Granger. Dr. Watson and I will accompany you to Witherfield at once." Chapter 2: The Village and the Victims. Our journey to Witherfield took the better part of a day. It was a rustic place, nestled among hills and shrouded in mist. The villagers eyed us with a mix of suspicion and hope as we arrived. The local constable, a stocky man named Inspector Hargreaves, greeted us at the Granger household. Holmes wasted no time. He examined the sites where the bodies had been found, each within a quarter mile of each other, forming a rough triangle around the village. The victims, all women aged between 25 and 35, had no immediate connections. "There is something ritualistic here," Holmes mused. "But it's not religious. It's personal. The flowers, the positioning of the bodies, these are tokens. Messages." Chapter 3: The Fourth Clue. The most recent victim, Emily Carraway, was a seamstress. Her body had been discovered just hours before our arrival. Holmes spent over an hour at the site, crawling on hands and knees, examining footprints and soil. "Watson," he said, straightening, "note the presence of lichen and crushed chalk. Not native to this field, but present elsewhere." "Where?" "Near the old chapel ruins to the south. I shall pay it a visit." The chapel was a relic of medieval days, its roof collapsed and vines overtaking the stone. Holmes moved with the precision of a predator. "Someone's been here. Recently. Look here, Watson. The same chalk and lichen mixture on the stones." Inside the chapel, we discovered a small makeshift shrine. On it, dried flowers, and what looked like sketches, portraits of the victims. Chapter 4: The Secret Past. Holmes began his inquiries into the village history. We interviewed elderly locals, scanned parish records, and uncovered a troubling past. 30 years ago, a scandal shook Witherfield. A young woman named Lillian Hawke was accused of witchcraft by several villagers after a series of bad harvests and child illnesses. Though never tried, she was ostracized and vanished from the village. "What if," Holmes said quietly, "someone is avenging Lillian Hawke?" But these victims weren't even alive back then. True. But their families were. Let us look into their lineages. Holmes's research revealed a chilling truth: each of the murdered women was a direct descendant of those who had accused Lillian. Chapter 5: The Watcher in the Woods. One evening, Holmes disappeared without a word. I found him the next morning sitting in the woods near the old chapel. "He comes here," he whispered. "Every night. Same time. He mourns." Holmes had been watching a cloaked figure who visited the shrine, laying fresh flowers. That night, we followed. A tall man with a gaunt face and long white hair stepped into the ruins. Holmes approached quietly. "Good evening, Mr. Marcus Hawk." The man froze. "You know me? You are Lillian's only child. You left, but returned recently. And you're behind the killings." Hawk's eyes filled with tears. "They destroyed her. My mother. She died alone in the forest. I swore they would feel her pain." "You've made your point. But you must answer for it." Chapter 6: Justice and Closure. Hawk was taken into custody, confessing to the murders. Holmes, though somber, remained composed. "He is a murderer, but also a product of injustice," Holmes said. "Witherfield must reckon with its history." The village, shaken, began to uncover old truths. Lillian's name was cleared. A monument was erected near the chapel, not for the victims, but for the woman wronged. As we departed Witherfield, Holmes turned to me. "Evil festers in silence, Watson. But so does redemption, if one dares seek it." The train carried us back to Baker Street, the mist of Witherfield fading behind us, but the lessons of its sorrowful past forever etched in our minds. Chapter 7: Echoes in the Fog. Weeks had passed since our return to London, yet Witherfield lingered in Holmes's mind. He stood one night at our window, staring out over Baker Street's flickering lamps. "Something remains unresolved," he murmured. Marcus Hawk confessed. "What troubles you?" A line in his confession. He said, "I completed the first, the second, and the third. But the fourth, she was already waiting for me." A chill ran through me. "You think Emily Carroway was not killed by him?" "Precisely. Someone else knew the pattern. And continued the work." Chapter 8: The Copycat. Holmes sent telegrams to Witherfield and to Inspector Hargreaves, requesting details of the fourth murder. A week later, confirmation came: the cause of death differed. No flower pollen was found on her dress, and her hands had been folded post-mortem, but not by Hawk's method. "We're dealing with a copycat, Watson. One who used Hawk's killings as cover." The suspects grew anew. Emily Carroway had been engaged to marry Thomas Weller, a blacksmith's apprentice. Holmes requested all letters exchanged by the couple. Among them was one unsigned letter. "She carries her guilt like a necklace. I shall unburden her." Chapter 9: The Final Pursuit. We returned to Witherfield under cover of night. Holmes had laid a trap, publishing in the local paper a story suggesting Emily had hidden a diary revealing her killer's name. That night, a figure broke into the Carroway home. Holmes and I waited inside. The intruder was young, no older than 20. He carried a blade and a bag of flowers. "David Weller," Holmes said. "Thomas's brother. You were in love with Emily. And she rejected you. She mocked me. She said I was a shadow of my brother. So you let Marcus Hawk's vengeance give you cover." David was arrested. Witherfield's wounds, both old and new, began to heal. Chapter 10: Epilogue: The Quiet Reckoning. Back in London, Holmes filed away the case notes with a solemn air. A double thread, Watson. One woven of revenge. The other of obsession. He lit his pipe and gazed into the fireplace. Even in the quietest places, darkness finds its way. But so can justice. And with that, The case of the village serial murder came to a final close, its legacy a reminder of human frailty, but also of the enduring search for truth. End.